easy and straightforward, right? So can you guys try to share your experience so that how this platform is supporting so that the other people can get motivated and practice. Like I think I see good thing that at least 57 people are in good and excellent. That is very good. And whoever is in this red and orange kind to come out from here to here. Whoever is not started is really bad. That you have to start it. Obviously, I told you everything, right? It's quite easy to go there and work it out. So guys, can one of you, try to unmute and then speak about like how was your journey practicing this? Technically, people afraid to even think about AI and machine learning and data science, all these concepts. But here we made it such a kind of simplified everything to make you understand and work to with a structured plan and everything. The platform is going to support a lot, right? So can one or two represent that? Then we'll start the project work. The attendance is still very poor, and we are about to start the project. Only 47 people logged in today. 47 means some of we are inside, so maybe from 25. Somebody from the group, can you unmute and speak about how is your experience in the some of you from either from the good or excellent, one of you speak about. Guys, can you hear me? Yeah, can some of you, come out and then can you talk about it? How was your experience? So nobody wants to speak. Hmm? Not able to speak out, in this small group. Then how do you face it in the market? What do you do in the market? Hmm? The last batch was very eagerness, like we have a recording. They defined very well. So I expect similar people are also there in this batch. Yeah, you can unmute and speak. Hello.
Sir.
Yes. Go ahead. So starting trouble. Once you start, then other people will start as well.
Sir, it is good, sir.
So what is the change before, like, before the internship or now after the internship?
Sir, we came to know more about AI, sir, and Python language, and how to use it and implement it.
Very good. So
Sir.
now we are going to do the project work, and that is where you guys will feel even more confident.
Sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Next person, one more. Hello. You can click on the unmute button and then speak. Yeah, Rakshita.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I had no knowledge about Python and data science. Now I have learned many things. So it was really good, this internship journey.
Yeah, next person, Sri Krishna. What happened to him? Are you still there? Okay, somebody else? Just two more people. After that, I'm going to continue with the session. Try to be interactive, right? You are an engineer and keeping quiet and feeling nervous. What are you doing? You need to be a good speaker in order to deal with this market.
Hi, sir. This was a very good happy on something. I don't know, sir, but this output and input was very difficult to like uh, give the output to as that Habian wants. Like that, this workshop is pretty hard, for the basic knowledge. We don't have any basic knowledge, so yeah,
So,
that's it.
where are you right now? Are you in Python or are you in data science?
In both, sir, it's like the output they want is like um, in without commas or brackets or something like that. We have to like format that output for that. It
Mhm.
was a bit complicated and
Have
and
you have you used solutions from the list on
yeah,
the left
yeah,
side?
sir, yeah, sir. I found that answer from Google and all,
Okay.
but yeah, that was it.
So it's more into practice. Okay, the more Python practice, see, it's a subject. So when you are good with the syntaxes, especially with the loops and conditions, list and all that, then obviously you can kind of print the statements the way that program is expecting. So you need require more practice, Ritesh. Nothing else. Need to do more because it could be because of your first time you are learning programming.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm new to this Python, sir.
yes, yes. So it's basically even programming wise. Which branch are you from? Which branch are you from? Are you computer science or non-computer science?
I'm from CS.
Okay, so yes. So practice more, just to practice. That's all. Nothing programming, right? So obviously that is why people are paying lakhs of salaries. So practice more, attempt more. You have solutions, answers. There is obviously some people it is challenging because this is that is where the practice is required. Some are at the same time there is also so there is people are very all the way completing everything. Some are then middle. There is a different kind. So that means you need to practice more so that you can speed up. Next person. Technically, learning AI, data science outside is much difficult because those are not structured like this. These are very, well designed, and so that you have a lot of help, learn programs, practice programs, everything is, aligned. Whereas in outside, that they will just tell you the topic and lessons that then people will struggle to, until unless they are extremely good in programming, they can able to cope up, the rest cannot. So that's the difference. Okay, next person, one more.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hi.
Hello, sir. This is Sri Raksha.
Uh-huh.
This workshop is so nice, sir, for practicing and all. In Python, I felt so like it's easy. I'm like now only I'm learning Python first time, and this is my
Okay.
beginning. And then I felt easy in the first in Python side, but in coming to the data science, I felt somewhat difficult. So I need a little practice for that.
Yes.
And more practice is needed for that.
So yes, very true. So basically, guys, so I told you, remember in the first day, the data scientist salaries and expectations. So if it is so easy, then entire India will learn data science and AI, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Every Indian will learn, or every human in the world will learn AI, and they will go for a job. Obviously, there is a challenge. There is so in order to beat the challenge, you need to practice more, spend time, more involvement, more research, more practice. That's all. Otherwise, why you think people will pay lakhs of salary for AI people, AI data scientists? Why the market is booming? So it's because there is a lot of demand in AI, but there is very less engineers in data. There is very less data scientists available right now. Reason is,
Yes, sir.
it involves a lot of statistics, a lot of mathematics, a lot of coding skills, a lot of data, observations. Like you need to think about the categorization, grouping, and the categorization and filtering the data. Gradually, you are going to that the final one. So there is a lot of things inside, right? That's why it's very important that you guys practice a lot. So then you feel like you will definitely feel light about it. Thank you. So can anyone who feel
Thank you, sir.
easy the entire journey? And also, I want you to tell this, like anyone, the person who is feeling everything is easy, going well, and the reason behind that. Is it because you have practiced well, or is it just because it's like it is just easy for you? Can one of you share that? So we heard a few stories. One person said going very well. Other person said it's a bit challenging in the overall journey. The other next person said it's moderate, like Python was easy, everything good. Now data science is getting difficult. So can someone from that other side, like the extreme, where everything is easy, going well, is it because of what? Is it because that you are putting a lot of effort and learning, or is it, what is the reason behind? Can you please share?
Good evening, sir. I'm Sneha.
Mhm.
Actually, Python was actually very easy because I was curious to learn, so I was practicing. I was practicing after doing my programs in this platform. I practice more from the other platform like Hacker and all. And then coming to data science, it was actually tough. But then if you practice well and if you get the concept, we can solve the programs.
Yes, that's very true. That's what I want to hear from the people. So it's all about practice. If you don't practice enough, then very simple. I told you many times, you are attempting for one of the bigger job roles. Okay, it is like remember when you are a kid, people ask you whether you want to be a doctor or a collector kind of thing. That kind of this job is an IAS grade. Okay, a data scientist job. It is not a normal cheap job. Okay, it is a grade job, completely the respectable job. So when you are computing for towards that highest job, so and if you are not putting enough time and not practicing and not deeply getting inside, then what do you think? Hmm? Do you think that IAS officers, they just got to be a collectors? No, right? They have spent a lot of, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hours, lot of dedication. That is why very few can able to get into that, that particular A grade job, isn't it? So here in the software industry, um, artificial intelligence is now is marked as, A grade, like IAS, highest, highest privileges, highest ranked, highest paid. Okay. So very popular, and that is the future. So that's why I want you to really come out from this, your day to day, the way you deal with the things in college. You forget about that, or come out from that, darkness. Try to think beyond and see, are you the person who is dreaming about the highest job, that future job that you want to paid well and live well, and get in demand? Then this is the time that where you will think about AI, and you will spend a lot of time. It is all about desire, right? If somebody is basically passionate about a particular thing, we have a lot of sightseeing in India, but a lot of people go to foreign country and spend some time and come back with investing a lot of money. It's a similar thing. If you are dreaming about, this kind of job, then obviously you really need to spend a lot of hours. So very simple example. These people, you see this example here. Obviously, 57 people are doing well out of 80. This is like 60% of the people, means 80% is doing well. They can do even more. So very few, maybe there is a hardness. I want you to spend more time, nothing much. Okay. So yeah, then I will conclude this, and yeah, so I encourage you to spend more time, practice, practice, practice. Even the people who are into excellent, still practice, do more research, do more work. And now anyway, we are getting into project work. Today we are going to divide the teams, and you can select the project as you see here, and try to. So this what we are talking about here is 3 categories of projects. So this category, there are 3 projects here which are belongs to beginner, and there is the 3 projects here which are belongs to moderate, and the 3 projects here belongs to expert. Okay. So based on your taste and your capability, you can basically choose one of them. Okay. So and then able to go through with, we are going to use the Google Colab, and Jashwant is going to walk you with how to start the Google Colab as you've seen in the previous class. Again, he will demonstrate how to start with the project, how to solve every step till the project completion. So before that, he is going to brief about what is this each project about, like 5 minutes each, or maybe less than that. So high level, what is this project about? So obviously the technology, the libraries is all the libraries which is required for this particular project is mentioned here. So anyone who is feeling still need to practice more and lagging things and all that, so you can choose the project from the beginner. If you feel like you are a moderate and you want to challenge a bit and want to go with it, then select a project from moderate. And if you feel like you are doing well, you understood the concepts and want to really tackle these things, then you go for expert. And if you have more capacity, you can go for and do more than one project, not a problem. So technically, you need to be in one of these places, and all I want is form a batch. Okay, so you write your names here. Please do not delete other people's names or do not disturb it. So you can able to, we are going to share this document and put it into the Google, where you can able to go there and then add your names into the respective project. So the small correction need to be done here. I don't want this way. Instead, I want it to be like this much. So I want it to be like this, meaning I enter your names into the respective box. Like if there is a like, try to make it like group 1, group 2. Like sometimes there is a people from more than like, 2 groups wants to do the same project, I would say like this, right? So group 1, alt enter, then I would say number 1, and number 1, okay, and then 2, number, like that. Then what I will do, so try to expand it, no issues. Then now we are going to form group 2. And then I would say member 1, and member 2. No? So you just put some, every group you come out with a name of the team name, okay? So it can be a college code with, some code, give some meaningful code, followed by you list out your names, okay? Similarly, batch 2, so you just form the group like that, enter your names and select the project. And you will go to this Google Drive where you will find everything, right? All the data sets required, the information and all that. So Yashwant is going to brief you a little bit about it, high level, what is this about, and then what kind of resources you have here. So, and then your journey starts today. All of you form the groups, start the project. If there is any clarification required or doubts if you have, you can basically post those into remarks here. Okay, just put a kind of group name. So then remarks. So we continuously look after this, and then we'll respond to that particular group. Okay. So that's the plan. Is the plan clear so far, guys? This is the plan. Okay. Now we are going to talk about and demonstrate how to start the project, how to finish it. That will do it. One or two people are present. Is everything clear to you? The plan is clear to you. The first thing is we need to make the groups. Select the project and enter your name into one of the group, one of the project, right? Is that clear?
So what is the maximum team size?
There is no limitation. Technically, if you are from same college, do not go vast. Okay, so it won't be nice if you faculties may ask you, why are you doing the same project on these things. If you are from different colleges, yeah, you can form a different. So each group try to be like anywhere between up to 5 in each group. Okay, so group size is 5, and a number of groups can participate into a particular project. So any other questions? Is that clear? Everything is clear, guys? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so Jashwant, you can take a lead and then try to share and explain. So for you farmer, you can use your sheet. Later you can take this and or I can give you this. Then what you then later post it in kind of the Google share so that everybody can able to access this.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. You can start and share the screen.
Hi guys, today I'll say what is the project structure, how the projects will be, and how you need to select the project and where to get the resources from. Yeah, you'll get a Google Sheet link where you can fill all the team members, where you can divide yourselves into different teams and select your project. And for respective set like a beginner, moderate, and expert, you will get a drive link. By clicking this drive link, you'll get into a there will be some zips called basic zip, moderate zip, and expert zip. When you download these zips, there will be three modules called module 1, module 2, module 3, respective three projects. In project 1 you have the forex commodity analysis, in project 2 regression, project 3 classification. At last we find a PDF which has the skeleton and the problem statements explaining for all the projects. Now I'll explain what will be the projects and the problem statement for each three sets, basic, expert, and moderate. Let me first start with basic. In basic, the first project is about forex trade commodity analysis. As nowadays, you can see that we are seeing so many apps which so many people are ready to invest on shares and something to get more profits. By using this, how they will get profits. Nowadays, many apps are there which can predict itself what will today there will be profit or not for your respective share, right? How they'll do? First, they'll do the data analysis part in these, and they'll find a machine learning model called regression model, and they'll solve using these data analysis regression method. In these forex commodity analysis, we'll just do the data analysis part. At first, this whole project is divided into many subdivisions. In first subdivision, you will load the data set what you needed using read CSV method, and you analyze the data using there is a method called head tail method like this, which is used to top method is used to find the top 5 rows in a data frame, and tail method is used to find the bottom 5 rows of the data frame. And some methods are there to analyze the whole data to get the data output like this. What is the count, mean, standard deviation, what is it, 25% of the data set, 75% of the data set, maximum in the data set. There is a function called I'm giving to you the work. Find the function from which you'll get these output and fill there. In these projects, you know not to start from scratch. You'll give the skeleton of the project. You just need to fill the place where a start code and end code start code comment starts, and in the place of none you need to just fill the method what we need to get these output. There will be so many methods in data science to analyze the data set. You can use any one of the method to get these particular output. In next problem statement, we are going to see the what is the minimum price, maximum price, and mean price for the column called cross price. When you clearly look this, I have many prices like previous price, open price, high price, low price, last price, and close price. Previous close price is nothing but yesterday's price of the particular commodity. Open price is nothing but today's at morning 10 o'clock the share market will start, right? At 10 o'clock, what is the price of the commodity? High price means during the time period of 10 to 5:30, the highest price the commodity reaches will come into the high price column. There is a low price. Similarly, the low price during the duration. Last price is nothing but what is the price at the end of the market at 5:30 p.m. and close price is nothing but the price for the day at last for the day. Now average price column respects to average of these prices, and total traded quantity is nothing but number of goods sold for a particular commodity, turnover, number of trades, deliverable quantity respectively to their meanings. In this second question, you're going to find the minimum, maximum, and mean price for close close price column in the particular data set. You need to fill the code just where the places are where you find none. You need to fill the code right there. Next, coming to third problem, you need to find the percentage change between respective days. Means percentage change is nothing but today's close price minus previous day's close price by previous day's close price into 100 is a formula. Now for this long calculation, we found a method called PCT change in data science, where you can by using this method you can directly find the percentage change between two consecutive days. How this percentage change will infer means how this percentage change used for the data analysis. Yeah, when you found a large percentage change between 2 days, you can see that there may be some issues in the market. Suppose if the percentage change got increased, then your product got succeeded, and you may find that same strategy need to be used to succeed in the market. If percentage change continuously decreasing, then you need to change the strategy to market the to get into the customers for the particular good. In next problem, you're going to analyze the data by using the plotting the graph. In this problem, you're going to plot date versus the goods. Means you're going to plot for each day what is the close price. X-axis related to the date and Y-axis related to the number of goods sold. That is when total traded quantity. Then you need to plot this, and what you infer this and you need to know what you got from these plot. Means what you infer from these graph, and mention it in a comment or result like thing. And we are plotting a stem plot. A stem plot is nothing but this is a plot where you can find the outliers from the graph. Means sometimes you can see particular commodity increases suddenly and falls the next day. Similarly, now some commodity suddenly falls today, and tomorrow it may increase to its level, right? So to find such outliers in the data set, we can use the stem plot, and we can remove the respective row from the data set for the good predictions while doing the regression thing. Next, we are plotting the histograms. As I said, yesterday before class, I said histogram the same advantages. Now you need to plot the histogram for the percentage changes. Means now you can see that from 0 you got the percentage change is 0 is the high now. So for the commodity I plotted. It is stable, means it is doing well now. If it got from 0.05 means it is very it is very stable. The commodity is very stable in the market. It is neither going into profits or not going into losses. To get into profits, what are the strategies we need to do? The marketing team should discuss well, and to get this particular commodity into profits. Now, while coming to module 2, regression in this in this model, in this regression step, you will do the prediction of gold prices. You will given the data set of last 2-year gold prices, and you are going to predict the data. You're going to predict the price of a gold price based on OHLC prices. Means OHLC means open price, high price, low price, and close prices respectively. And you'll find the coefficient of the polynomial function for the regression function, and you'll train the model using the regression. I'll say what are the steps involved in regression and classification steps just now, but for now, in this regression model for basic, you're going to predict the you're going to predict the price of the gold price for today or tomorrow based on the previous 2 years data set. Next, coming to classification, here you are going to estimate the here you're going to classify whether the particular social network ad reached the customer or not. Suppose if we see if we continuously scroll the Instagram or Facebook, you'll see a lot of ads, right? Some ads might touch to some customers, liked by some customers, and they'll tap, right? When they tap, some customers will buy and some customers will not buy. So we'll record that the data, and we'll say whenever the customer bought the good by clicking the respective social ad, we'll mark it as one as a as one. When the customer didn't buy by clicking the link, we'll mark as 0, and we'll classify the customers based on the previous actions using gender, age, estimated salary, and things. And now you will predict when you given a new data with the gender, age, estimated salary, you can predict whether the customer will buy the product or not by the respective social ad. I think you got clarity. Now I'll explain what are the steps involved in the classification regression by using a simple iris data set. In this model, you'll find a new step called future scaling. Future scaling is nothing but suppose here we are not classifying the age, right? Age may be from 18 to 80, right? Or estimated salary from 10k to 80k, 1 lakh, like that, right? So to get rid from these large ranges, we use a feature scaling method called standard scaler. Standard scaler is nothing but mean minus standard deviation by variance is nothing but standard scaler. It will scale the values between um, some values like -2 to -1 to 1, and you'll not find the large ranges. Suppose I'll say example. Suppose salary ranges from 10k to 100k. Let it be. When you use a standard scaler for 10k, it will get -1, while 100k it will get +1. Between -1 and +1, the values will get changed and fit into the train set. Means suppose for 10k I'll get -1, right? When you use 20k, you'll get less than -1. Sorry, greater than -1, like -0.8, -0.9, like that. Suppose for, as I said, for 100k I get 1, right? When I get 80k, 70k, I'll get around 0.8, 0.7 respectively. By using this standard scaler or feature scaling, we can increase the performance of our machine learning model, as because if there are large ranges, we need to provide a large data set, and we need to use a high computing resources for making the machine learning to train. When you use a standard scaler, the range of the data set will get decreases, and it will be easy for the machine to learn. And remaining all is the same, as I'll explain later with a more example. Similarly, while coming to moderate, similarly you'll see 3 modules respectively: module 1, module 2, module 3, and you'll find a PDF file where you'll explain where you find all the data sets required. First is again a forex commodity analysis, in which you'll go deep dive as compared to basic project. You'll deep dive some more, and you'll find some new problem statements where you need to solve this. I'll say example. Now you can see this is a new problem where you are going to find the average price on profit loss and profit or loss percentages over a week, for a duration of week, 2 weeks, month, 3 months, 6 months, and a year. As you know, average price is nothing but total price by number of rows, and profit and loss percentages. You can know the formula for it. You need to you need to fill the code just here, right? I'm again saying you need to fill the code wherever none is there. Means wherever the start code comment you'll see, from there to where you find end code, between that you need to fill the code. No need to start from the stats, build from the stats. It is easy. We make it easy for you to learn. Next, similarly, you can find another new problem statement called, here we are adding a column called trend, where trend is nothing but if percentage change between -5, 0.5 to 0.5, we'll name that particular column with a particular row with a name called slight or no change. Means our product got a little bit change or no change. When the percentage change between 0.5 to 1, it'll say that a slight positive means we are going into profits. When -5 to minus 0.5 to -1, slight negative means we need to be careful that we are going into loss like this. We need to predict. We are going to classify that whole data set into these eight names or 8 tags. Next, similarly, here we're going to plot the pie chart and bar chart. Next, similarly, we are plotting the plotting using the date and total traded quantity. Next, same again, stem plot, histogram. Yeah, while coming to regression, here we're going to predict the salary of an employee based on the experience. As you know, the salary of an employee changes from 0 years experience means fresher to an experienced person of 7, 8 years. The salary will change respectively, right? So we are going to design a model to predict the salary of an employee based on the experience, based on experience he worked in the particular field. Similarly, this is the problem statement, and you are using a data set called salaryData.csv, where you can find columns called experience and the salary of the employee, 2 columns. And using the 2 columns, you are going to predict the salary of a new employee. And here I gave a code to visualize how our model is working. How our model is working on training sets and test sets. Now coming to classification, sorry to say, here you need not to do anything. Just I gave for your reference to plot the what we predicted and what the original result is, to share our to know our project's accuracy and things are given here to just for your purpose. Now coming to classification, in this module we are going to predict the news, whether it is a fake or a real news. Here we are using a TF-ID vectorizer and passive aggressive classifier for predicting the news, whether the news is fake or real. I'll explain what is meant by TF-ID vectorizer and passive aggressive classifier. TF-ID vectorizer is nothing but basically there is a special field in machine learning called NLP, natural language processing, where we'll deal with only text data. This is TF-ID vectorizer is one of the method to deal with text data. Yeah, while we are finding the newses, almost all the newses will be in text form, right? So to learn format the text into machine language, we will use the vectorizers. Generally, we have count vectorizers, many vectorizers in the machine learning. Now I'm using TF-ID vectorizer, which turns the text into the machine languages codes such that if the particular word appears more than 70%, it get deleted. Here now here we are predicting fake news, right? In fake news, we'll see the odd ones, right? In fake news means we'll need the odd ones, odd ones from the which are different from real news, right? This TF-ID vectorizers will get the odds data. Means suppose particular word, suppose you find a Pakistan word more than 70 times in the data, then you can confirm that particular Pakistan word is a correct word, means it is not a fake news. Then TF-ID vectorizer will drop that word. Suppose you got a news between that gold price will increase tomorrow. Then suppose some wrong fellow given a fake news that silver price will increase tomorrow. then you can see that there will be more news or comments related to gold, right? Whenever we find a silver, the mission will find that it is a fake news, means it is a odd one from the remaining set, and it will get eliminated. These TF-ID vectorizers do the things and give the vectors for each text, and it will turn the text into the machine learning machine code. Next, what does passive aggressive classifier do? Similarly, same as a TF-ID vectorizer. If the news is correct, the classifier will be calm state, means it will not do anything. When there is a little deviation from the good news, means real news, it will be aggressive. The classifier becomes aggressive, and it will say that this is a fake news. Suppose suppose there will be a score, think like for a real news there will be a score around 0.8 to 0.1. Whenever a machine learning whenever a passive aggressive classifier found 0.79, means it is a slight change, then slight change from the true value, right? Then the classifier becomes aggressive and say that it is a fake news. For a small range of values also, it will become aggressive when it is deviated from the real news or the value what we needed. This is the use of passive aggressive classifier. And while coming to expert, yeah, same forex commodity analysis. For the data analysis project, you'll find the different problem statements you need to do and develop on to analyze the data. While coming to regression, here we are going to predict the profits of a startups, different startups. Here I taken a data set of 50 startups, and I'll predict the profit for the companies based on the columns called research, research and development expenditure, administration expenditure, and marketing expenditure, and the place where it located. Based on these columns, I'll predict the profit of you are going to predict the profit of a company using a regression technique. Here we are using a new method called one-hot encoder or label encoder. This one-hot encoder or label encoder is a special method which which labels the data into something. I'll say, right. Suppose you go three states. Suppose think of three states like Andhra Pradesh, Bangalore, Uttar Pradesh. It will be some rows will have Andhra Pradesh, some rows will have Bangalore, some rows will have UP. When you use this label encoder, you'll get for AP you'll find 0, for Bangalore you'll get 1, for Uttar Pradesh you'll get 2. Wherever you find AP, it will turns into 0. Wherever you find Bangalore, this will turns into 1. Wherever you find UP, you'll get into the dataset will turn into 2 when we use label encoder. Well, for predicting to make the machine learning model more to increase the performance of a machine learning model, we use a one-hot encoder. One-hot encoder is nothing but we'll divide. For now, there will be only one column which defines the state, right? It will one-hot encoder will divide these columns into 3 columns. Means in this data set we have 3 different states, right? So we'll get 3 different columns. Accordingly, if you have 4 different values in state, you'll get 4 columns. First column resembles for AP, second column resembles for Uttar Pradesh. First columns for Andhra Pradesh, second column for Bangalore, and third column for Uttar Pradesh. As I said, wherever you got AP, suppose you have four rows, right? 4 rows, right? In first row we got AP, in second row we got Bangalore, and third row we got AP, and fourth row we got OP. We'll have the 4 rows respectively. In the first row AP arises, right? So AP will get the value of 1, and at third row AP got, right? we'll got AP state, right? So in remaining columns we'll get 0. Similarly, Bangalore got arises in second row, right? In remaining rows you'll get zeros. Similarly, for Uttar Pradesh, for fourth row, remaining zeros. Like this, it will divide the one column into number of columns, and will turn the whole data into binary way, where all zeros and ones will find. Now at last what we'll do means I will remove the first column from this. We'll remove this AP column, because we can easily find if 0 and 0 means, so then it will be compulsory AP. If 1 and 0 means Bangalore, 0 and 0 means again you can easily find that it is an AP state. If 0 and 1, it is an Uttar Pradesh. So we'll eliminate this column, and we'll name this as, and this is called as a dummy variable trap in machine learning, where if you keep all these three columns at a time, you will fall into a trap, right? So to get rid from the trap, you use a technique. We will remove that first column from our data set and we'll train the data set. Now, while coming to classification project, here we are going to detect a disease called Parkinson's disease, which is a central nervous system disorder of central nervous system. Recently, this disease got viral. I mean, so what got get to increase in India. It has 5 different stages, affect more than 1 million individuals in every year in India. The rate is being increased the rate is getting increased as days are passing. We need to predict the Parkinson's disease, right? So in this model, we are going to predict the Parkinson's disease using the columns or provided in the data set. Here I am using a data set called Parkinson's data. Now, as I said before, you need to do scale, right? Here you'll scale between -1 to 1, and you'll predict the model. Now I'll show how you need to import the skeleton from the Google Colab. Google Colab and do the project. Suppose when you click on the new notebook, you'll get an empty sheet like this. You need to click on icon here, right? File icon. When you click on a file icon, you'll get a sidebar like this, where you'll find these are some network issues. It's loading. I'll show here. When you click this, you'll find a button here, right? This button. This is called as upload to session storage, right? You will get, when you place the cursor on it, you will find upload to session storage. Is my screen visible? No. Yeah, you will find a button right here. When you click on this button, a pop-up will arise. If suppose you downloaded basic or you're doing a model 1, project 1, right? You will find a IPYNB file here. You just need to upload here. Upload both the file and respective data set, and you'll click open. You'll get a notification that this is for a particular session. When you close the Google Chrome or whatever browser you are using, every time you open the Google Chrome browser or whichever browser you are using, you need to upload the data every time you use. When you click on the Yeah, this is okay. Upload notebook. Click on the upload notebook and choose file, module 1, open. Yeah, you'll see, you'll get the skeleton of the project like this. Wherever you find a command called start code and end code, you need to fill the data, you need to fill the code between these commands. And I clearly divided the problem statements into different code blocks. You need to just fill the code and get correct output and submit the project. I'll explain how steps in regression and classification. Basically, regression and classification is nothing but is a supervised learning algorithms where you will find a dependent variable. Whereas in unsupervised learning, you will not find a dependent variable. You just without the dependent variable, you'll classify the data set. Whereas in supervised learning algorithm, you'll definitely find a dependent variable which depends on the independent variables. In every let's start how to build a machine learning model called machine learning model in regression and classification. At first, you need to import the modules which are needed. So in this example, I'm classifying the iris. You are familiar with iris for light. In iris, there are 3 types of classes in iris. So I'm classifying the group of iris based on the data what load iris based on the data in the iris dataset. So at first I imported all the data, all the modules I needed. At second step, you need to download the dataset. In machine learning model, you'll find these 4 steps common: importing the dataset, dividing the test dataset and train dataset, and training the dataset and predicting the values. At first step, we'll import the dataset what we needed. So here I'm using a load iris dataset which will be imported using load iris method. Now when I'll get executed, I'll get the data shape of 150 cross 4. When you need to know what is the structure of dataset, you'll see now you'll see the data frame of the iris where the first row will define first row will define the sepal width. Second column will depict the petal length. Third column will describe the petal width, and final column will name the future whether it is a setosa or a vesicolor or a virginica. Means these are the 3 classes in the iris flowers. Based on these columns, we are predicting the which class which kind of flower it is. Now, as I said, in the second step, we need to divide the train and test sets, right? We'll use a method called train test split method, which will divide the train sets and test sets respectively. At first, we'll give the train set means what are the dependent variables here. We'll get any data. What are the independent variables? We'll specify in the first thing. Means first parameter. What is the dependent variable? We'll give in the second parameter. As a third parameter, we'll give the test size. Test size is nothing but, suppose here I given 0.3, right? Suppose we have 100 rows. It will divide into 70. It will divide that data set as a train data set of 70 rows and test data set of 30 rows. Means into 0.3 ratio or 30%. It will divide the it will make the divide the data set as 30% of the data set to test set and 70% of the data set to train set. In random state, this random state simply, if I take now I taken random state is equals to 0, right? If I change the random state is equals to 2, the number of rows which got into test data, train data will change. Basically, when you given this test size is equals 0.3, it will not divide the data first 70 into train data, next 30 into test data. It will shuffle the whole data and it will divide 70 different rows. 70 different rows, and means in unordered form it will divide into train set, and different 30 rows will be into test set. So as you change the random state value, you'll get the different values, different rows in the train set and test set. When I given 0.3, you'll see that 105 rows in train data set and 45 rows in test data set. When I change a random state is equals to 1, you'll get different 105 rows in train data set and different 45 rows in test data set. So this is the use of random state. Now I am classifying this using KNN, K nearest neighbors classification. In classification, you will find many classification algorithms called logistic regression classification. Next, naive basis classification, decision tree classification, KNN classification, random forest classification. In this, I am using KNN classification to classify this data set. Where we will get K neighbors classification from sklearn. Sklearn is the module is called scikit-learn, where you find all the modules needed, all the classes, all the methods you needed for doing machine learning model. From sklearn.neighbors, I am importing K neighbors classifier. It is nothing but a class. You are familiar with Python, I think. For every class, we need to create an object, right? When you need to work with class. So I'm creating an object called with the name KNN for the class K neighbors classification. K neighbors classification is nothing but it will divide a whole data set into neighbors. Suppose we have here three different types of flowers, right? So it divides into three clusters. When based on the some criteria like Euclidean distance between 2 points, it will fall into different clusters. So, suppose I will show. Suppose when I plot. When I plot the X-train data respectively with something, this is the group of setosa flowers. This is the group of another kind of classification. This is another group. At first, you'll get a scatter plot like this. Suppose the machine learning itself fix 3 starting clusters. Suppose this is the central point. This is the central. Suppose think that this is the central point for the first model called setosa. Suppose this is the central point for second thing. Second name, I forgot the names, and this is the third thing. At first, suppose you think that this is the first point you got. This will find the Euclidean distance respectively with these 3 points, which is the near and which is the near one. You'll get this is the near one, right? So it will fall into this particular this particular thing. Suppose setosa. Suppose take this point. It will find distances, Euclidean distances with 3 respective medians. We'll call this medians for these points, and you will see 3 different distances. You'll find this is the nearest distance, right? So this point will falls into this cluster. Suppose take this point. It will find distances with these respective points and find the minimum distance, and it will fall into respective classifier. So this is how CNN classifier works. Likewise, we'll get many classifiers. We're having many classifiers, decision tree, random forests, and many things. So how will train the model. First we'll create an object for respective class what we are doing. Suppose now I'm doing knn error class kneighbor knn classification, so I'm using knn object, and by using the fit method is nothing but we are training the model. When we use the fit method, it will train with the model will get trained using the x train and y train. The model will train when we use the fit method. Fit method is nothing but we are training we are fitting the we are getting fit the model, means we are training the model. After fitting the model, you'll get you'll need to predict the values, right? You'll predict the values for the text data set. How will you predict? By using the predict method, you'll predict the values for the x test data frame. So when I got predicted, I got predicted like the first row respectives to second thing, first thing, zero thing, means zero response, zero will tell you that this is zero is nothing but Setosa, one is nothing but vesicolor, third is nothing but Virginica. So based on our predictions, we can find that the first row will be we got predicted as it is a Virginica. The second row as a something second thing I got, I'm forgetting the names. And while first is called Setosa. When it is zero, it is called Setosa. Two is called as a Virginica. First is called as versicolor. It will predict into the number formats, and we'll need to convert into the numbers into the respective names. And at last, we need to find the score, right? For classification, we'll find the score using different performance metrics method, like we use a confusion matrix method, confusion matrix metric, or accuracy score metric. Okay, some more methods, some more accuracy parameters are there in machine learning. Here I use the KNN score method, which I got 0.98, means 98% accuracy. I got I think one row got missed from doing the correct prediction in these data set. So in every machine learning model, you will find the same thing. Let's see. Suppose take the expert thing, and I'll show the same steps you will find in every classification and regression method. Let's see, in regression method, as I said, in first step you need to import all the libraries you needed. In second step you need to import the data set, right? Data set. And in third step you need to divide the data set into test set and train set. And in fourth you need to fit you need to fit the code, means nothing but train the code or train the model. In fifth step you will predict the results. The same you will find in classification regression in all the projects. As I said, first step as importing libraries, second step importing the data set, third step dividing the data into train and test set, and fourth training the model. At last we will predict the model. And to find our model's performance, we will find you'll use various performance metrics. Here I used accuracy score. Before example, I use KNN score. Like this, we can use confusion matrix, where you can find a number of where you find the correct how many we got correct, how many got wrong predictions, like this. This is the whole project structure and the projects about the projects. As I said, you need not to develop from the stats. You need to fill the code between the comments called start code and end code. Suppose here I given tag called importing the data set. In pandas you learned that how to import the data set, right? Using the read CSV method, you will import the data set. Just you need to write the code in the place of none. You need to write the code to import the data set. Similarly, as you now you learned how to split the train and test set using the train test split method. You need to just fill the code in the place of none. Similarly, how to fit the method using dot fit method, how to train the method, how to predict the results using dot predict method. By using these methods, by using the skeleton, you can easily fill code and you can usually develop the machine learning model what you need, and you can complete a project successfully, I hope. Shankar sir. Okay guys, I'm done. If you have any doubts, you can ask.
So if you have if you have any doubts, anytime you can able to interact with us. Mainly, the intention of this thing is you need to form the groups, and then start working with the project. So hope at least a few people from each group have understood the process and the plan. Can you guys confirm, some of you? Did you understand the plan? You can select the you can form the groups however you want. So you can form from within your college, or from different places. You can form the team however you want. So when you have more than 5 people, you better to divide into multiple groups. But if there is a people from like 7 people doing one project, it's kind of, you will not enjoy the project work. I would rather maximum 5 people, try to divide as a group, and try to each of you need to participate actively. We are also going to ask you questions in the last the review session to understand what is your involvement, what you have done. So it's very important. You need to really spend time to understand and work on the project. So mainly, so there will not be any class on Saturday, but it is more into interactive session that you can post your comments in each group, and we want to or anytime when you have doubts, you can post questions in the group so that we'll attend. So technically, we are going to have a class again on Tuesday, that is September 1st, to understand the percentage of completion and how much you have done. So that day we'll decide, we'll decide whether we need to extend the time frame or you can, is it enough for you. So let's tentatively plan for Tuesday. So we'll see how things goes by Tuesday. If we required, then we'll extend it till Thursday. So from Thursday is the last day. So you have 1 week time. Meanwhile, you are available to reach you. Also, we'll have a clarification session on Tuesday. So effectively work. Any doubt when you have, always come forward, write it into that remarks sheet by group. Also, you can ping us. It's better. We would like to receive the remarks in the Google Sheet so that we can contact those team and help. Is it clear, everyone?
Sir, they are asking that they can do different projects from which are not in these sets.
Yeah, we can do it. They can do that. No issues.
Okay, you can do.
So you can select the project from different however you want, but you need to present in Google Colab in the same style. Like you need to have abstraction and the libraries used. What is the purpose? What is the improvement? If it is predictions based, then you need to put the test data, train data, and the accuracy you need to mark. So technically, we recommend you to use these projects here, whatever is given. First, you select here and complete. If you have capacity, if you want to do more, you can obviously do more, from outside. But within these projects, we want you to complete first. Okay. So any other questions? So if there are no questions, then we'll end this meeting today. And okay, all the best, guys. Work it out. So we can connect back to clarify if required. Okay. Thank you.